roughly 8 ounces of beautiful Mintabie seam opal. Beautiful colors, beautiful color bars. And it came to me partially rubbed, which means taking off the sand on the top. I decided to take one of these pieces and make a cabochon out of it. Here I've ground down into it, and I see that the green is starting to come through, and there's still a lot of sand on the surface, but the green and some red is coming through. A little further here, I've I've ground on the left side and at the bottom, and getting a lot of green color here. You always inspect the edge when you look at it, cutting an opal, and at the edge here, the color bar is very thin, and that's something that I'm going to have to deal with later. But looking at the remainder of the specimen, the color bar is thick there, relatively thick. That red bar is really too thin to be usable. That's a nice side, and this is also a very nice side. So 3 of the 4 sides are really good. I have to remove these areas of sand at the surface, but I'm getting through pretty well. Color showing up. I began to think that maybe a 200 carat pendant would be too big for anybody but maybe Godzilla. So my solution is to use the trim saw and cut the stone roughly in half. That would give 2 nice sized pieces to work with, and here they are. You can see on the edge the thick green color bar. The color is good in both of them, and ideal specimens, very large specimens with which to work. I'm looking at this one, and I can see that the top right there is where the thin color bar is. And looking at the other one, which is sizable, it's got nice color, and this will make some very nice cabochons. Pretty hefty piece. Removing the saw mark only. Now I've gone down deeper, and it's mostly green color now, which I expected from the thick color bars. Once again, there's the thin area between my fingers, and that is something that just will have to be dealt with. Here it is again. You can see it narrows down significantly, so I needed to cut that off and round out the edge. I got about 4 carats out of it. And here is after cutting off that edge. It's at the top there. I've rounded the edge after cutting it and rolled it and sort of putting a slight dome on it. It looks like a very good cabochon. Things are progressing. The color looks good, but there's still some problems. There are these cloudy areas, sort of patchy or sandy, and they have to be removed. And the way I decided to remove them was to merely cut them off. Now, this might seem like an unwise thing to do, but it's actually a good idea. For one, the part that I cut off is really nice, and I can make some nice cabochons out of it. But the reason you cut off an opal close to the defect is because if the defect is near the edge, as you can see here, you merely roll the specimen over using the grinding wheel and basically easily grind through it. Here I'm just sort of getting the saw marks off with the Nova wheel, but the heavy duty work was done on the centered wheel, mostly my 220 centered wheel. And so I'm shaping it, and I'm sorry this one's not centered, but I continued to work on this, rounding it and putting a dome on it, and I ended up with this. A perfect cabochon. Perfect in every way. beautiful colors, shiny. Look at the polish I put on it. It's a wonderful polish. But sometimes when you're working with opal, you just don't notice things. And in this case, there's two pretty big defects that I needed to work on. So I took the specimen and ground and kept working on it, and I eventually ended up with an almost flaw-free stone of 83 carats. It's got fabulous color from almost all directions, every color of the rainbow. I'm not 100% happy with the shape of the cabochon, and I might end up making more than one final stone out of this, but for now this looks great, and I'm very, very much happy with it. I wanted to take a moment to thank everybody for viewing my videos. I'm truly flattered. I never expected this sort of support. I try to answer all your comments, but sometimes I miss them. I apologize. Recently, a YouTube expert told me that I should get you guys to click the like button because that brings in revenue. I told him that nobody's getting rich making opal videos. See you next time.